On Monday, a federal jury in Greensboro, North Carolina, said ABC owes Food Lion $5.5 million in damages as a result of an undercover report that aired on Primetime Live. ABC says it will appeal, and the jury says its decision was about more than money.
It had nothing to do with the money. I mean, the money was, we didn't really discuss the money until a couple of days ago. So, I mean, it wasn't really a money issue. Okay. The media has a right to bring the news, but they have to have, they have to have guidelines too. I mean, you can't just, you look at the football game, there's boundaries on all around. You go out of bounds, you go out of bounds.
I think the news media is going to have to come around with a better way of collecting the news without misrepresenting themselves. So I think the award that we gave them is more of a slap on the wrist.
Meet that juror and more. Get ready. This is your chance to talk back. Hello and welcome. I'm Susan Rook, and this is TalkBack Live, CNN's original news talk program. Our first subject today, journalists, ethics, and your right to know, all of which are really tangled together in the Food Lion versus ABC case. Joining us to talk about it, people from both sides of the argument and an ultimate insider. In our San Francisco bureau, former Senator Alan Simpson, whose new book is titled Right in the Old Kazoo, a lifetime of scraping with the press. So much for ambiguity. How do you really feel, Senator? I'm only kidding.
Same way. How are you? Nice to be here.
Oh, this is wonderful. We got a bunch of people in the audience. Can't wait to talk to you. Also, from New York, we welcome Peter Herford. He was vice president of CBS News during the good times, and he is now a journalism professor at Columbia University. Some would perhaps call that a even better time. Thank you for joining us. Also, we're also joined on the phone from his home in Reidsville, North Carolina, a juror, Tony Kenton. And Tony, you have been pretty vocal about your participation and your reaction to it. Several folks here in the audience want to ask you a question. Brent is joining us from Kansas. Go ahead, Brent.
Yes, I was wondering why you only awarded $5.5 million when the company was discredited so badly, even though they did not say that they were not guilty of the charges against them.
Well, I thought that even $5.5 million was too large of a sum, actually. Mm-hmm. I had problems with any punitive damage at all, personally. So $5.5 million was the smallest number that we could negotiate.
Senator Simpson, this is less than Diane Sawyer's yearly salary. What kind of message does this send?
I don't know. I think it sends a message that deception is deception. And that's what we have to remember. And I've heard people say, well, they saved me from dealing with tainted food, and thank heaven for them and all. But the American people don't really believe that hidden cameras and deception are the way to honest journalism.
Let's not mix two things here, Susan. Let's not.
There are a lot of things mixed here.
Yeah, let's not mix up hidden cameras with the deception that ABC is indeed guilty of in terms of the way their people applied for those jobs. That is the mistake that ABC made. They should not have put information on the application by which they got the job, which was false. That's the mistake. Let's not forget that Food Lion never contested the facts in this case. Absolutely accurate reporting. And I think one question we have to keep in mind throughout is, was there any other way of getting this information if you're in the business of television reporting?
I think it's wonderful that professor is teaching.
Gentlemen, let's first pause if we could and talk about the issue of means to an end. And Betty was talking about this right before the show started. You thought the information was more important than how they did it?
Oh, most definitely. And, I think we have to look at things on an individual basis. This is a very serious charge for Food Lions. And I think that the media then needs to somebody has to investigate this. And if that is the only way that they can, I think yes, I agree. I agree with that. I disagree with the senator.
Okay, let's stay with you, Betty, for just a minute. Peter was just saying that there are other ways that they could have gotten the same information.
No, I said, are there? Are there other ways?
If there are other ways to get the information, should they have gone about it that way first?
Yeah, but I think, again, you have to look at what kind of information were they going to get. Were they going to get to the truth? I am sure that if they had gone through Food Lion's company, I don't think they would have gotten the whole truth. I mean, they're not going to come out and say, yes, we do this.
Good point. Well, Tony, to you, the jury, must have been grappling with all of these issues. Give us some insight what it was like during that 30 hours.
Well, it was difficult, to say the least. It was probably one of the most stressful things I've been through, and we were just at two extremes. On one hand, a couple of jurors were thinking billions of dollars, and then it decreased on down to me where I was thinking $0, and we had to meet somewhere, because it was obvious that we sent several notes that we were deadlocked, and it was obvious we were going to stay there, and so we basically had to come up with something that we could all live with, and as far as I was concerned, there was some degree of wrongdoing, but it wasn't to a degree to where I could see millions and millions of dollars.
Senator?
Let me just say,
ahead,
I'm so pleased to hear the professor speak, because if that's being taught in journalism schools, I say more power to that gentleman. I agree with him totally. But now, if you're talking about the end justifying the means, get a little more topical. So if you don't like abortion, you go blow up abortion clinics, and I guess that's all right. Is that right? Am I hearing that?
Professor, I don't think that...
I'm not
No,
the professor.
you're certainly
not the
not hearing that.
professor.
No, are you saying that
I'm
to
talking
the
about the
audience?
woman. No, I'm talking about the woman that said it was wonderful
we'll
that this is done, because whatever
we'll go
happened,
ask
it's
her.
all justified.
Eddie,
So
is that what you're
how
saying?
about
No
abortion
way.
clinics?
No
Okay.
way.
Oh, that's
no way.
different.
I'm
Is that
sorry.
different?
I disagree 100% with you.
Different? Is that what makes that different?
No, because you're talking about hurting human life when you're talking about the abortion and the bombings and whatever.
I know. I happen to be
This
pro-choice,
is
so
talking. You're talking about Food Lion would have hurt people had they sold this stuff. So they needed to have been stopped, and we were not doing anything to hurt another human being to try to investigate this.
No, but you're lying to do that.
Excuse me.
Pardon me?
Somebody's lying to do that.
Well, that lie is going to cost ABC maybe $5 million.
I think what the senator is getting to is that lie justified in the name of the information getting out? Am I characterizing
That's
that correctly?
correct.
Okay,
Does the
Betty?
end justify the mean?
I still think so. I'm sorry.
Okay, Tony is Tony from South Carolina.
North Carolina.
Is also joining us. Which one are we doing? Are we doing the phone call, or are we doing Tony the juror? Tony the phone call from South Carolina. Hey, Tony.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good now.
What I wanted to say was, to me personally, the fine against ABC should have been $500 million, not $5 million. That's just a slap on the wrist. What we have to remember is ABC is not the police force. They're not policemen. They're a TV company. If somebody came to them with information saying that Food Lion was doing this or doing that, there's such a thing as health departments that you take that kind of complaint to and have them check into it.
Tony, very interesting comment. We sure thank you for calling. And Eddie has an idea for a solution. We're going to talk to Eddie and talk to all of you after this.
We're always here. No matter how difficult the story, no matter how remote the place, shedding light on world events 24 hours a day. CNN, CNN International, Headline News, CNN FM, and CNN Interactive, bringing news and information to 500 million people in over 200 countries. It's how the world gets enlightened. The networks of CNN, the world's news leader.
This whole issue of investigative journalism, hidden cameras, I think that viewers and jurors really have a love-hate relationship with it. The ratings show they love to watch it, but when confronted with it in the courtroom, they don't condone it. That's why I think it's an ambiguous kind of a ruling.
Subject is the ethical limits under which journalists operate or should operate at any rate. We are joined on the phone by juror Tony Kenton from his home in Reidsville, North Carolina, in San Francisco by former Senator Alan Simpson, and from New York by former CBS Vice President and current Columbia School of Journalism professor Peter Herford. I promised Eddie you would get the first question, which is also kind of a solution embodied in it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think peoples like Tyson, in other words, Mathis, Food Lions, and other food supplies companies that process food for the world should be monitored by the USDA on the way that they handle the meats and different types of food.
Okay, Eddie, who would be in charge? The USDA, so the government would be?
The government.
How would they monitor it? Would they like put up cameras and stuff like that?
Yeah, they would set cameras and along the assembly lines and the processing line.
And then people would be hired to like look at them. So 2 people would do one job most of the day, right?
They will monitor them just like a security guard monitor a building.
Okay. Or is the journalist doing that for us? Sammy is in our audience. Sammy, what do you think?
I think Food Lion should be shut down, fined. I think it was good investigative reporting on ABC's part. And I just think more needs to be done. I agree with the juror.
Ben, who addressed us on our worldwide website, said he thinks it's sickening, literally, that ABC had to pay 1 dime to Food Lion for exposing their corruption. From Eddie's comments to Sammy to Ben's comments, who should look out for the public good and who gets to decide the public good? Senator, that was the crux that you were in when you were in Congress, wasn't it, in the clash of the parties?
Well, yeah, but it's the public's right to know the truth, and journalists leave that out a lot. And if there's ever a more thin-skinned reaction to a jury decision, I haven't heard it yet. We get accused of being thin-skinned. The media is so thin-skinned on this one, it's just a massive apologia.
You say that we are the most thin-skinned group of people that you have ever in your entire life met.
And I'm pretty thin-skinned myself.
Professor, to you, is that true? Is that a valid criticism?
Well, that is the subject of Senator Simpson's book. Which I think is a separate issue from what we're dealing with here.
Well, do you, just a second, do you really think it's a separate issue? Because if you are so thin-skinned that you can't take a look at yourself, I would think that you would not get the benefit of the exposure.
Nobody's advocating that. Nobody's saying we shouldn't look at ourselves. We look at ourselves all the time. We are very often the hardest critics on ourselves. The trouble is, quite rightly, the senator points out that very often when the criticism comes from the outside, that's when we tend to be thin-skinned.
Oh,
but I think
Jackie
that
is
only
just sitting here in our audience, and this young woman is from Alabama, and she is just shaking her head. So go back. You get to talk back to the professor.
Okay, I really don't know how the things are carried out, like who's responsible for this and that and the other. The thing I know is each individual storekeeper is in charge of his or her store, and that food should be perfect at all time and monitored daily. If it's something wrong with it, it should be taken out.
Okay. What about the rights and responsibilities for the media? Pretend that they are a store. How would you kind of look at it then?
Oh, well, now that might be a little different, but I do think that they should be penalized and not just be able to do this to us as the public. Yeah.
Okay. Tony, the juror, wants to jump in. Tony Kenton, go ahead.
Yes, I'd just like to say, I might be wrong, but I feel like the general public doesn't necessarily have anything against the undercover cameras as a whole. There are times when they're needed. I mean, let's face it, our system is broken down. And when you can, we had cases that we looked at in court, and the USDA was called in, and they put people on honor systems. They call people, some of these agencies, they call 2 weeks ahead and say we're going to be there on a Thursday at 9 o'clock, and they give time, they give the time that's needed to prepare, to make the conditions, what they ought to be. And when you reach that point in time and you have disgruntled employees, they don't know where else to turn, so they turn to the media. And that's kind of what's happening to some degree in this case with Food Line. And again, in my opinion, the only thing they did wrong is they misrepresented themselves. And I think that if they had gotten maybe a couple of those disgruntled employees and put some hidden cameras on them, they wouldn't have been in the courtroom to start with.
Professor, that's sort of what you were saying.
That's exactly what I was saying. It was, I don't know whether ABC tried this technique, whether they tried to go to some employees and said, would you be willing to be, in effect, wired to be our cameras for us and to use that technique. They may have struck out. They may not have been able to do that, in which case they had to send in their own people.
We've got to take a quick break.
Sure.
Senator Simpson, to you, when we come back out of the break, I'd like to know if you think things like your book, this case, recent controversies, will have a chilling effect on the news media. We'll be back after this.
That's great.
I'm troubled by the fact that the jury, or at least some of the jurors, seem to agree that this was an important story to tell. They said, but of course ABC shouldn't cross the line. What line? It is not clear to me as a lawyer what line that's going to be.
Senator, to you very quickly, do you think this conversation will make perhaps both sides, companies, but also the news media, take a look at itself a little bit more, or will have a chilling effect, and would that be bad?
Well, I think they will look at themselves more. The professor is absolutely correct. Peter is correct. Since I started this book on the media about writing the old gazoo, a lifetime of scrapping with the press, and I've never won one of those scraps, there's been more self-examination by the media in that 5 years than anything I ever would have perceived. But they can't be in a position where we nail them or somebody challenges them and they suddenly start babbling about the First Amendment and pull the tattered cloak around their shoulders and talk about the chilling effect and the public's right to know, and we stick by our story. That ain't selling anymore.
Jim has a comment that would be a great follow-up to that. Jim, go ahead.
How about having the news media do more inspecting? That way they'll save the government money from their inspecting, and whoever gets the money, if they do award it, have them give it all to charity.
There you go. So, Jim, I got a question for you. Who will inspect the inspectors?
Well, I guess NBC or CNN or whomever it may be.
Okay, good capitalist answer. Oliver has a suggestion. Go ahead.
I just think that the media should be involved. It's educational. Every time they get involved, you learn more, you see more, and that's how we know what's going on.
Everybody in our audience seems to be pretty unanimous in that sense, Professor, because they look at the media with respect. But some things, including the Harris poll, well, the concept of the media. But I think when you get down to practicalities, let's see, it's a Lou Harris poll, and the media is just horribly, I mean, look at this, arrogant. 42% of the American public think the media is more arrogant than normal people. 35% say we're more objective, more biased, cynical. Intelligence, I don't know about that. Less compassionate, less ethical, and less honest. We have lower approval ratings than like drug dealers.
Well,
what can we do to improve ourselves?
We're not in the business of being popular. So being unpopular is not something that should concern us greatly as unpopularity. The source of that unpopularity maybe should concern us. It should concern us that we have done things like some news organizations or pseudo-news organizations, tabloids, have crossed the line from news to entertainment, and that line has very often been obliterated.
Tony,
that is not a good thing to do.
That's a very good distinction. And Tony, to you, if it had been one of the tabloid magazines, would you have awarded any money?
Probably.
Okay.
But I don't consider the two the same.
Right. Okay. Was there any confusion between the two, or a blurring of the line between traditional news and tabloids within the jury, other members of the jury?
I think so.
Okay. Jean's got a comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think once again we're punishing the bearer of the news and not the perpetrator of the crime.
Thank you.
Senator Simpson, what about that?
Well, you can do that all you want to, and you can talk about this and all that, but the issue is deception. The issue is lying. You can't go on the television all day long and talk about the president lying, if that's true, or Newt Gingrich lying, and then pretend that the media people don't lie. And that's why the poll shows you what it shows. The people do not respect that because they think that you are the invader of their privacy, that you're nosing around in stuff, and I'm not talking about meat. I mean, standing in front of an 8-year-old kid while they're emptying the garbage to ask if their old man that you staked out the house is crying in there. I don't like that. It's trash.
Final comment from Melanie. Melanie, go ahead.
I completely agree. I think that whenever the media starts getting really involved in personal lives, that's when we as people have a problem with their cynicism and their arrogance. But whenever it does deal with public health and we don't have a choice as to what we buy, we trust that this meat is good, then it's okay for you to start investigating those sorts of issues that affect public health.
And that has to be the final word. Time now to check the CNN newsroom for the very latest, including Jim Murray from the Simpson civil trial. Thanks to our guests. Sure, a pleasure talking to you. I love this subject. Joining us to discuss the Food Lion versus ABC case. When we come back, we will talk about food a little bit more in the case of Susan Powder versus fat.
Hey, we get to learn how to find out about the fat our kids are eating, about the fat that we're eating. I got a microphone and I'm not using it. Don't ask me why. Right here with Susan. It's the Susan and Susan Show. Hello.
Market continued its advance.
Meanwhile, cyclical seem to be driving in leaps, charting global short-term rates. The CBOE Time Premium Moving Index playing yield curves against interest-free swaps.
Derivatives.
Friend or foe?
When we come back.
I'm Lou Dobbs. You don't need an MBA to watch CNN FM, just a remote control. Switch to CNN FM for plain talk about money, business, consumer news important to you. Business unusual. Ask your cable or satellite company about CNN FM.
Welcome back to CNN's TalkBack Live, where it is our pleasure to welcome a woman who wanted us all to stop the madness and whose new book offers some very sage advice on what to do when you hear that little or not so little cry of, "Hey, Mom, I'm hungry." Let's welcome Susan Powder. This is just terrific. We've got a bunch of people in the audience. First, let's start with Betty's question. Right over there, Chris.
Hi, Susan.
Hey. Hi, Susan. I wanted to find out, since I'm not that slender, I wanted to find out how much you really had lost and what percentage of that was from food, taking less food as exercise.
Well, I lost 133 pounds. Do I need to use this?
Yeah,
he told me my other mic would work. He lied. You lied, Mr. Soundman. Hey, Mr. Soundman. I lost 133 pounds. And again, if I had only lost weight, I would have gained it back again if I had dieted. Because according to the diet industry's own statistics, 98% of us gain the weight back. So diets fail, period, the end. I increased a lot of lean muscle mass that I didn't have. I increased a whole lot of cardio endurance that I didn't have. I went from 43% body fat to 14% body fat. And I got lean, strong, and healthy. That is very, very different than getting skinny. That's why I turned 39 a couple of weeks ago.
Happy birthday.
What do you think? I'm so excited. And look what my son got me for my birthday. He bought it with his own money. Oh, Kyle, you're so brilliant and fabulous.
That's great.
It's a clock, and he picked it out. But anyway, and I feel better than I ever have in years, and that is the ticket. If you get lean, strong, and healthy, not if you just lose weight, and certainly not if you diet, because they bite. Can I say that on CNN? Sure, I can. Yo, you guys have heard
but
that
I'm just
before.
really
for
glad
God's
that
sake.
you said it and not me.
I must tell you
Jackie
one thing,
O'Donnell.
Susan. I'm over there talking to you. My father's right behind me, and he said, "Oh, I love her. I always watch her." I said, "Why didn't you tell me? I would have introduced you. He loves you."
Hi,
He's
Dad.
right over there.
He's right over there.
Yeah,
There he
my
is. Can I
dad
get a shot
loves
of
you.
him?
Hi, Dad.
Okay, two
He's
photographers.
got the
one
video
taking
camera
each
taken
other.
of his daughter.
Yeah, there
Could you
go.
die of embarrassment?
Jackie, so will Robert. Jackie wants to know, Jackie O'Donnell, who's in CompuServe, wants to know, are you a vegetarian?
No, it's not about vegetarian or not vegetarian. Here's what it's about. There are a lot of vegetarians who are eating tons of avocado, which is, like 90% fat, tons of seeds, nuts, cheese. I've met a lot of very, very over-fat and unhealthy vegetarians. The key is we are taking in 43% of our total daily caloric intake as fat. That is too much. If we cut back on that and increase from a sedentary lifestyle to a lifestyle with just an iota of movement, you will get stronger and healthier. So it's not meat versus plant. It's fat versus fat versus fat versus fat. That's the most important thing.
Okay, another question from Joyce.
Yes, I've been keeping a journal for 17 days, and I've ate about 2,000 calories a day. I've taken in less than 20 grams of fat. I've exercised 30 to 60 days on a health rider or walked, and I haven't lost but 2 pounds. And I'm kind of ready to give up again, but I keep thinking, well, eventually I guess I'll lose. Why haven't I been losing? And I drink 8 glasses of water a day.
Well, at first, there's a couple of things that I'll very quickly say. First and foremost, what you're doing is fabulous, and congratulations. Second, the most important thing is not that you are exercising, but that you're doing it properly. You need to make sure, number one, that you are always in oxygen, because when you are out of oxygen, you are anaerobic, not aerobic. That means you're not burning. Here's the difference, and it's very simple. You don't need a heart monitor. You don't need to take your pulse. You don't need to do any of that. Here is out of oxygen, okay? You're moving around. Here it is. That's out of oxygen. Here is in oxygen. You are never out of breath. Joyce, don't ever be out of breath, because you will be fat burning then, okay? The thing that you need to do, and many women need to do, especially women, but all of us need to do if you really want to make sure that you increase your metabolic rate and burn fat, is to increase lean muscle mass. And I'll tell you why. Lean muscle mass is metabolically the most active tissue in the body. What that means is when you build it, you activate this very active tissue, and it burns a lot of fuel. One of the fuels it will burn is fat. So if you could add a little lean muscle mass building to that, but keep going. The real ticket in what you're saying is, I say don't keep the journal, stop looking at the days, and move forward in your life of exercise, cutting back on fat, increased oxygen and wellness, and you will see a change in your body. I say dump the journal. Dump the journal.
Got to take the break. Got to take the break. We'll go out with Debbie's comment very quickly.
A comment to say you look fabulous with hair.
Debbie, I want to tell you that you have one of the prettiest accents I have ever heard.
On that, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a minute. If you haven't been to CNN Center lately, just look what you've been missing. The all-new Turner Store with gift ideas from all your favorite movies, cartoons, and TV shows. Go behind the scenes as news is covered from around the world on the CNN Studio Tour. Take in the shops and restaurants. Then join me, Susan Rook, and voice your opinion to a national audience on TalkBack Live. Come downtown to CNN Center, in the center of it all.
So I like that.
Yep, very lively. Speaking of your book, Melanie has a question for it, right? Go ahead.
Wondering, your book is aimed towards children and having, them get excited about this. How do you encourage them to eat the healthy foods and not want more chips and fattening candies and things like that?
It's a great question, and I appreciate you asking that, because as a mother, I have 2 children a year apart, and we're adopting a baby in the next couple of months. You don't. And I'll tell you what we as parents are the guiltiest of. This is what you should do. Let me tell you, this is what you should do. Be a living example. When mom is lean, strong, and healthy, when mom and dad have an active lifestyle, when mom and dad are going hiking or biking or walking, when mom and dad are choosing to put higher quality foods in their body and respecting their body, believe me, children learn. You generate an energy in a home of respect and caring and health and wellness and all that. That is the ticket, Melanie. Just be a living example and your children will follow. I promise you they will. Don't talk at them. Just you do it. And then they'll go, Mom, what are you eating? Oh my gosh, that's good. Sweetheart, this is cutting back 30% on my fat, and I'm thrilled to be putting it into my body and not killing myself. They'll hear it, believe me.
And here's some specific examples. Hey, Mom, I'm hungry. There you go, Melanie.
Melanie, you win. Ding, 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 ding. You won the prize. Melanie wins. Who else gets a book? Everybody.
Well,
no, joking. No, I'm
you
joking.
Can have one. John?
Yes, I just want to know, you have so much energy, and I want to know, how do you keep that potential up like you do? I want that.
And
lots of caffeine.
To that,
no, joking.
Well, no. Bill McCabe in CompuServe, I'm not kidding. He wants to know how many cups of coffee you drink.
No, I'm telling you something. Here's the ticket that everybody that has gotten fit and healthy knows this. When I was 260 pounds, I did not have strength and energy. I had the same personality. I didn't all of a sudden get a personality when I lost 133 pounds, but I didn't have strength and energy. And here's the ticket, I promise you. When you have lean muscle mass, that is strength. When you have oxygen feeding every cell and every muscle in your body, that's energy. When you're not schlepping around 43% of your body weight is fat. Fat is heavy. It's hard to schlep. I'm telling you, which is carry around in Yiddish, just in case anybody doesn't know. But that's when you get lean, strong, and healthy, you have energy. Then if you love what you do, you have energy. Then if you're grateful to be alive every day, which I am, and then if you have such fabulous children like I do, and then if you don't be owned by your ex-husband anymore, hi, darling, you're also very high energy. I promise you. Oh, it's true, Sue, and you know it. No wonder my father loves you so much. You're so cute. Look at you. I know you're a professional newswoman, but you're funny. You are very funny.
Joining us on the phone, Florida. Hi, Calvin. Save me. Help me. Who's Kevin?
Hey, how y'all
Calvin.
doing? Yes.
Okay.
How you
Calvin
doing,
and
lady?
Hobbs.
Yes, I'm with you. Great comic.
There you go.
How y'all doing today?
Good. What's up?
Okay. I want to ask a question. What would you recommend for when you're starting out on a diet? I'm used to eating a lot, and I guess that's part of it, but what would you recommend as far as fulfilling foods that are great to start off with?
First of all, please, 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 I beg you, don't go on a diet. The diet industry's own statistics are 98% of us fail that go on there. I mean, would you put your dollar on that table in Vegas when somebody says to you 98% chance says you're going to fail? No. You need to cut back on the one thing that's making us fat, which is fat. You must increase a sedentary lifestyle into an active lifestyle, and you have to eat high volume, high quality food. I mean, I write a lot of cookbooks for that very reason, just to give you some ideas. But above and beyond that, think low fat. I mean, think about it. You got the tuna. Okay, this is very basic. Tuna is 3% fat per serving. You got the tuna. The mayo is 98.1% fat per serving. Which one are you going to eliminate there in the tuna salad? Not the tuna, the mayo. And then you could put the onions and the celery and the whatever and make a big hoagie sandwich and go for a walk with Joyce, who's walking, and she's going to throw the diary away, right, Joyce? So you see, you just have to
try and throw it away, right?
Joyce
I don't know.
Joyce, 17 days is not enough. Get off that scale, throw that diary away. I promise you, you will change your body. Give it a little more than 17 days, Joyce.
Do you want her to call you in 2 weeks?
Joyce, you should call me because we could have a lot of fun. I'm a lot of fun on the phone, Joyce.
No. Say yes. I bet she'll do it.
Of course, I will do it.
Absolutely.
Check in another 17 days.
No. You know what? Give me a month. Give me another month. You got to give enough time to get your metabolic... You really, I'm telling you, we do a lot of damage with the dieting and the lifestyle we live. Give your body a little while to recover.
In a month, you're going to be talking to her.
You
and
give
I'll
me.
call
I'll give you my home phone.
Okay.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Are you a
PJ,
stalker? Hopefully not, Joyce. Okay, good. If you are, I'll have to stalk you back. Who am I looking at
go
now?
ahead. Gentleman in the back row.
Yes, Susan. When you're watching your weight, is it best to look at the box and look at the fat calories? I mean, look at the fat grams or the calories?
Here's the ticket, and here's one of the biggest controversies with, first of all, everybody knows that we need to cut back on fat, but here's what doctors are not telling people. When you count fat grams, it's basically irrelevant, and I'll tell you why. What you want to find out when you're eating a serving of anything, it doesn't matter what that serving is, a serving of, how much of that serving is fat? Is it 80% fat? Then you'd know it's pretty high fat. If it's 70%, is it 7? Is it 6? Is it 65? Is it whatever? The only way to find that out is to do the fat formula, which is the American Medical Association's. They just forgot to tell us.
Okay,
why.
now explain what it is.
Here's what it is. I'll give
and
it all
how-
to you.
and how
It's very
do it,
simple.
like,
We'll
lay
do
out.
it over and over
Simple,
again.
but-
You look at the fat grams. On everything you eat, don't believe the label because they lie through their teeth. You turn it around and you see the number of fat grams. You take the number of fat grams times 9 equals X. Whatever X is, take X and divide it by the total calories. And what they will tell you is, per serving, how much of this serving is fat. I'll give you an example. People look at a box, they see 2 grams of fat. They go, oh, I can eat as much as I want. 2 times 9 equals 18. Let's say it's only 15 calories per serving. 18 divided into 15. You're looking at this right here, guys. You're looking at 100% fat here. You're looking at 80% fat. You're looking at 75% fat. The fat formula will tell you, it's the American Medical Association's. It is the only way to make sure that you keep your daily fat intake at a healthy, responsible to your body daily fat intake. And it's so simple. I'm mathematically brain dead, and I can do it.
Jason,
So can you.
Jason Connor wants to give you a great idea for losing weight. Go to a punk concert. 5 minutes in a mosh pit is equal to 30 minutes
Been
of
there,
medium
babe.
pace
You go on and tell
jogging.
Jason I've been
and
there.
The fatter you are, the better you are in a mosh pit. There you go.
Jason, how do you think I got the haircut I got? You think I didn't go to a mosh pit? For God's sake, Jason.
There you go.
I've
We're
been
going
to
to
the
see what he
mosh
has
pit.
to say. We've got to take a break back after this.
Now, and for every championship season to follow, a new network dedicated to covering sports as never before. From CNN and Sports Illustrated comes CNN SI. Around-the-clock coverage of sports news from around the world. Ask your cable or satellite provider about CNN SI, the 24-hour sports news network.
Area for free tickets, call 1-800-410-4CNN. Joyce has a follow-up question. Go ahead, Joyce.
I just wanted to get back to your comment about water. You said you wanted to get back to that.
You're a genius. Now, I am going to look right into the camera here and ask America a question. If, in fact, drinking water had anything to do with burning fat, first and foremost, I would be a mermaid. Second, there wouldn't be any fat people in this country because we're all drinking 8, 9, 10 glasses of water a day. Fat does not come out from drinking water and urinating. It does not happen that way. The way fat gets off your body is by burning. The only way to get fat off your body is movement, which is burning the fat in oxygen. That is it. Drinking water, sure, when you're thirsty, you should drink once in a while. Drinking 9 glasses of water a day is crazy. Unless you just want to go to the bathroom a lot. I don't know. Is there any other reason, really? That's what it does. Susan, you okay over there? Okay, good. Just want to make sure you're okay,
thinking,
Sue.
if the bathroom's a really, really long way away, then you could get into your exercise.
Well, and then if you're pregnant, I had 2 10-pound babies. Then if you drink 8 glasses of water a day, you should just set up tent in the toilet because you can never leave the bathroom. No, it's ridiculous, Joyce. And that's not how fat burns off your body at all. And if it was, nobody would be fat.
Clay has another question.
Yes, Susan.
Oh, Clay. Hi, Clay.
Hi there. I wanted to know what's your opinion of all the abdominal exercise machines that you see coming out, flooding the market, that versus your standard sit-up or crunch.
Well, I'm thrilled about this question, and I'll explain it very quickly because 2020 has already done a fabulous job of this, and so has American Journal and a lot of other great shows. They exposed a month and a half ago the Abdominizer scam, which everybody in the industry knows about. Doing sit-ups does not burn fat. Now, Clay, what that means is you could do 1,000 sit-ups a day. You ain't going to burn the fat that's on your stomach off. My stomach used to hang halfway down my thighs. You could do 1,000 sit-ups a day. I'm telling you. The only way to get rid of fat is to burn it aerobically. And then you can do sit-ups to increase the strength in the muscle underneath, and you should. But that's not how you get rid of the gut. And on the Abdominizer infomercials, they show these huge guts and then these washboard abs. You cannot do it. They got busted so big, and it was really a pleasure to see, actually. Because thank God people get the truth. You guys deserve the truth. You burn the fat off your stomach, then you do sit-ups, and there's nothing better than a regular sit-up. All they are is very expensive headrests.
Janelle has a follow-up question to that. Go ahead.
Hi, Janelle. I'm turning around like an imbecile here. Pardon me.
With losing so much weight, what'd you do with the extra skin?
Love that. Okay, here's the deal. When you go on a very, very fast weight loss, as in diet, when you lose weight like bammo, you lose weight, you are losing mostly water and lean muscle mass. That means that this is not there. It hangs, okay? Look at me. This is not there. No, here's what it is. This muscle, this muscle has to be built. If you don't build it and if you lose it when you're dieting, it's going to hang and be saggy.
That's why women wave twice. You know, right? Hello.
Oh, it's so horrible. I mean, that's one of the reasons, but then there's a lot of fat. But here's the ticket. When you reduce body fat, my arms used to be huge. Ask my father, huge. When you reduce body fat and increase lean muscle mass, which is what Stop the Insanity has always talked about doing and always will, what you do is you get a leaner, stronger body. I am almost 40 years old. My skin is not as tight as a 20-year-old's, but I look really good in a thong bikini or naked. And that's all I really care about, to tell you the truth. That's my goal in life. Susan, are you okay? Somebody Heimlich her. Somebody Heimlich her. She needs a little resuscitation.
Wait a minute.
Yes, you see what I'm saying?
Ask your dad.
Sure, your skin gets a little loose, but who cares?
You know? So, did you ever think that your little girl would end up doing this and feeling so good about herself?
I was not sure where she would end up. She was always a great talker. But, this is the one thing she's got. The ability to get the truth, put it in simple words for everybody to understand, including me, because she nagged me into eating well, and display it in a manner that's fairly entertaining, I think. But she gets your attention, and because she's self-educated, what she says is the truth. It's not secondhand.
And that is the final closing word. Thanks so much to all of you for being here. Pleasure to see you,
Susan.
Susan.
No wonder my father thinks you are so good. What a pleasure. We should do more of this.
Okay.
Come on, guys. Let's do more stuff about fitness and wellness with
And
Susan.
Joyce, we're going to keep in touch with you. Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. To the audience here, to all of you. Up next, Flip Spicing with the weather, then catch Inside Politics Today, remembering Paul Tsongas. Have a great day. Take care. Work out.